Welcome to Stuff They Didn't Teach Me in Sunday School. The Big Bend area of southwest Texas. When I have to imagine somewhere totally desolate, I think of the Big Bend area of southwest Texas. Beautiful area. Very little rainfall, desert, rugged mountains with no trees on them. A desolate, desolate area. It's the kind of area that Israel passed through when they moved from Egypt to the Sinai Peninsula. A desolate, rugged desert area. It should come as no surprise to us that they find life difficult at times as they move from Egypt to Mount Sinai, where they're headed first. And one of the difficulties they have comes right away in chapter 15, the end of chapter 15, verse 22. Then Moses led Israel onward from the Red Sea, and they went into the wilderness of Shur. They went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. When they came to Marah, they could not drink the water of Marah because it was bitter. Therefore it was named Marah, which means bitter. And the people murmured against Moses, saying, "What shall we drink?" And Moses provides a way out. God does. Provides fresh water for them. They go a little farther in chapter 16. They come to a place called the Wilderness of Sin. In verse 2, the whole congregation of the people of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness and said to them, "Would that we had died by the hand of Yahweh in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots and ate bread to the full. For you've brought us out into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger." They're only 4 days out or 5 days out, and already Egypt looks good to them. We sat by the flesh pots, we stuck our forks in, we got big hunks of meat out. It was great. Remember how they hated Egypt? That hate has faded into the background, and now they grumble. God provides a way out again. The first thing he provides is quail. When I was in Sunday school class, I thought the quail came every day or every week. They only come once at the beginning and once at the end, as far as we know. And so the quail come into camp and they get to eat meat. Verse 13 of chapter 16, in the evening quails came up and covered the camp. And in the morning dew lay round about the camp. And when the dew had gone up, there was on the face of the wilderness a fine, flake-like thing, fine as hoarfrost on the ground. When the people of Israel saw it, they said to one another, "What is it?" For they didn't know what it was. And Moses said to them, "It's the bread which Yahweh has given you to eat." 6 days a week they would go outside their tents and they would find this bread-like substance on the ground. They named it manna, or in Hebrew better, manna, which means in Hebrew, what is it? So every morning they would get up, go out of their tent, pick up the what is it, make whatever meal they wanted to make out of it for the day. If they gathered too much, more than they needed for a day, it would spoil, except on Friday. On Friday they gathered enough for 2 days because they couldn't work on the Sabbath, Saturday. And they would go out and gather all this, what is it, and make a meal out of it. Yeah, there'll come a day when they get tired of what is it too. And they'll complain about that. But for now, this bread came down from heaven every day to feed these people. There's a tradition among the rabbis by New Testament times that said when Messiah came, the manna, the what is it, the manna, would start up again. In John, Jesus feeds the 5,000. Then he has a discussion with them about making him king and bread king and what it means to be the king. And the scribes and Pharisees say to him, "Our fathers ate the bread in the wilderness. What do you give us? What do you show us?" And Jesus says, "I am the bread come down from heaven. I'm the restart of the manna. I'm God's provision for you, not just physically in this world, but eternally in the world to come as well." What is it? What a great name for the stuff they picked up every morning, 6 mornings a week for 40 years. God's provision for his people, pointing ultimately to God's final, total provision for his people in Jesus Christ.